When it comes to tracking my reading activity, certain applications like Goodreads and Story Graph don't quite cut it for me, so I thought I'd try something different. Oh my god, this is such a game changer. My reading stats are never going to be the same again, but that's a good thing. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'm super excited to be sharing with you how I'm going to be tracking my reading for 2024. Now don't get me wrong, I still use Goodreads. I think it's a good basic platform for participating in the Goodreads challenge, where it will store information like how many books you've read and how many pages you've read. And I also like interacting with the Goodreads community as well. I've also tried Story Graph, but didn't work for me, didn't like it, didn't like the format and the interface there. So recently I found myself shopping around for a really good spreadsheet, or a Google Sheet in this case, that has everything I want in order to record my specific reading activity. So I found this sheet from a YouTube channel called Her Story Digital. She made up a really good comprehensive spreadsheet that I found ideal. It only cost me $4.42 from her Etsy store, and simply downloaded it and away I went, had a play with it. Turns out it ticks all the boxes for me because of what kind of information I want to put into it, so that I can effectively report on my statistics in my newly reintroduced monthly wrap-ups. And of course it gives me something specific to talk about in a lot of detail in my end of year wrap-up. So now that I have OBS Studio up and running, it's provided me with the opportunity to share this with you the way I want to, where I can have my little camera down in the corner, and I'll be able to show you everything that's happening on my screen, so that I can take you through this awesome spreadsheet. And if you haven't seen this before, after you see this demo, I think you'd be pretty interested in buying it. So how about we take a look at these really cool features of this spreadsheet. Okay guys, here we are in the Google Sheet. This first page is basically some terminology and an indexing system as such, but doesn't mean a lot to me at the moment. So we want to get to the good stuff, right? It just means that Her Digital Story, the lady that created it, put this here for whatever reason. But that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to the dashboard page, which summarizes everything at a glance. So what I'm going to do is, I've already zoomed out to 75%. So this is, I leave it on this page all the time so that I can get a good overview of whenever I go into it. So starting off over here, here's the overview. So basically it's telling me how many books I've finished so far this year, how many pages I've read, how many hours I've read for. And I don't do audio books, but if you do, she's got you covered here, so you can cover your hours listened as well. And then down further it lists the months, so you're going to be able to differentiate between the different months with what you read each month and how many hours you read each month. And of course these will total up towards the end of the year, which is going to be a very interesting statistic to share with everyone. And down further we have the days read, which that's all white because it means I've read every day for 25 days. Haven't missed a day yet this month. And then you've got rereads here as well, if you are inclined to put rereads in. And then you've got the finished books per month as well. Okay, so I've finished 4 books in the middle of a 5th, which is really good. And you can track your purchase books here as well. Alright, so if we move over to the next column, here we have the 5 physical books in the library at the moment. Now that just means I have added 5 physical books that I have read, and here is the rating system, which is really good. So this is telling me that I've read 2 books rated a 4-star, 1 book at 5 stars, and 1 book at 3 stars, which is really, really cool. Books by author's nationality I don't really pay too much attention to, nor do I go on the ethnicity either, or the gender. I don't feel, I don't use that. And then over here you have your pie chart, where it breaks down every percentage of whatever genres you are reading at the time. So obviously I've read 2 fantasy books this month, 2 horror and 1 thriller. So by the time I get to the end of the year, it's going to be very, very interesting about what the breakdown is for what genre I would have read by the end of the year. So you can see here, you can set your goals as well. Okay, I haven't set monthly goals at the moment. I have set a general goal for 70 books this year. So we're going to see how that goes. But this pie graph is awesome. And you can set your monthly pages. If you have an idea of how many pages you want to read per month, you can put them in here as a goal. How many hours you want to read per month, you can put them in here as well. And finances, how much you've spent and earned, which I probably won't use that. But this is a really good overview page which gives you an idea on what's going on at a glance. And I just find it awesome. Alright, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Now, the next tab I'm going to show you is the reading log. This is where you map your progress of whatever book you're reading at the time. So when you decide to read a book, you chuck it in here. So obviously you would put your title, your author, genre, subgenre if applicable, whether you own it or you've borrowed it. Is it physical or is it ebook? You can see here these drop down boxes help you with that. And whether it's a series or not. If it's a trilogy, a saga, how much you paid for the book if you've bought them, and in here, along with the metadata for the book, you'd put your total pages. Then you leave this blank until you start reading it, and then you gradually update this figure on a daily basis. So now I'm in the middle of The Final Empire, the first Mistborn book, and I've read 32.9%. So, you know, almost a third of the way there. And you can put your start date in here where you started it. I've still got to do that, and then when you finish the book you put your finish date in, and it'll mark it on the calendar, which I'll show you shortly. There are other tabs along here where you can essentially put tags, so you can tag it as a paperback or a new author you've been trying. You can have the viewpoint, which isn't critical to me, and then of course when you finish the book you can add your star rating right here. And along here I don't use any of that. Okay, so that's where you update your information on the daily basis, and then all that information gets fed back to the dashboard and gets added in here. Okay, now what I'm going to show you next is the calendar. And this is really cool. You don't have to do anything with this. You don't have to type anything in. Basically, if you finish a book and start a book, it just fills it in and tells you what you did. Okay, so started Way of Kings on the 1st, finished it on the 14th. Oh, well, man, what a book that was. And you can see here, started this one, finished this one, started this one, finished one, started one the same day, which is pretty cool, but just handy to have. And, next I'm going to show you, don't you really use this one much, the series overview. I haven't figured out how to use this at the moment, so I think you're meant to track your series in each box here. Yeah, one day I will get around to learning that one, but the real nitty gritty comes via the habit tracker down here. So if I hit this tab, this is awesome. Okay, so you've got a section for each month, okay, and everything that's color coded in here is the number of days you've read. So as you can see, I've read every day for the month of January, haven't missed a day yet. And then over here, it asks you if you read on that particular day, so you tick the box if you've read that day. Obviously if you've had the day off and haven't had time to read, you wouldn't tick the box. And then you put your pages read. So every morning I'll come in and I'll just put this on here, where how many pages I read the previous day and the rough time I read for. I mean, without getting a stopwatch and calculating it properly, I can guesstimate it. Essentially. And of course, if you've listened to audiobooks, you're covered there as well. You can map your hours that you've listened, and this is pretty handy here. So I've read for 25 days and my average pages a day is 88.5, which isn't too bad. I'd prefer to get it up to about 100, which I'll work towards. And average hours a day is 1.8, so just under 2 hours a day I've devoted to reading, and we're 81% through the month with 100% reading goal for the month if you read every day. Alright, so that is very, very handy, and of course anything you enter into here goes back to the dashboard automatically. Now this is the beauty about Google Sheets, guys. You don't have to physically save them. It's always auto-saving constantly, so that if you are doing a lot of things, let's just say if you put a big list of 50 books in on the reading log, and you won't lose that if you don't press the save button. There's no real save button on it. It is all automatic, which is fantastic. So every month I'm going to be doing this, and all this will add up at the end of the year with how many pages I read, how many hours I read for, how many books I finished, how many star ratings of each category that I did. So it's just all really comprehensive and very, very handy, and I just love it. Now, moving on to the next tab is the wish list, which I haven't really figured out how to use yet. Basically, you've got all this space here to add in JPEGs of the books that you want to read, that you want to put in a wish list. I have tried copying and pasting in a JPEG just to see what it does, and it doesn't quite fit, so I've got to work around that and just see how I can adjust it so it does fit. But you know, that's something for later. But she gives you a lot of space there to work with. So with this spreadsheet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide links in the description of the video where you can access this and download it, buy it and download it. And you can also go to her Digital Stories channel and watch the video tutorial as well, which is pretty handy. But I know I'm impressed, and if you want to track your reading with a bit of detail, and if you don't like using Goodreads for it, because let's face it, it is only good for basic things, I like the in-depth look. And what I'm looking forward to most about using this is I had stopped doing monthly wrap-ups last year, and I'm reintroducing them, so that whenever I do a monthly wrap-up now, which I plan on doing this year, I'll be able to report on what my progress was on a monthly basis as well, instead of waiting until the end of the year like I did last year. So I'm impressed, and I love it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got a bit out of it. I hope I converted you. If you're looking at tracking your reading, this is an awesome tool. Now, I did shop around a little bit before settling on this one. This one just seemed to tick all the boxes. So there you go. That is my new spreadsheet reading tracker. So there you have it, my brand new reading tracker for 2024. I think it's an absolute ass kicker. It has everything I want. I hope you got a lot out of this demo, because tracking your reading is never going to be the same if you decide to buy this thing. It's only a cheap outlay, and you've got it forever, because every year you can change the year on the calendar, and you can start every year fresh, which is unreal. So yeah, I can't wait to keep using it, and I think it's one of the best reading trackers around. So I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm more than happy that I have my OBS studio up and running, so I can provide a little bit more different content rather than just the book reviews, which I'll be posting a fair few of those, don't get me wrong, but it's just nice to split up that content with something a bit fresh, and I can do tier lists in the future, and other tutorials like Canva, for instance, in creating thumbnails. I might share how I create my thumbnails in another video where you can take a look behind the curtain. But yeah, all sorts of possibilities now that I've got OBS up and running, and I won't look back from it. So thank you very much again for watching. If you like and subscribe, I'll deliver the best content I can, and there is a lot of content to come this year, guys. I'm really, really excited about it. But until the next video, happy reading.